Hey everyone, it's good to have you back. Tonight, I want to tell you about something that's been unsettling me for a while now. It's a collection of voicemails, all from the same number, but there's a catch. They're all my own number. My own voicemails. Now, I know what you're thinking about dials, right? Accidental recordings. I thought so too at first. But the more I listened, the more that explanation started to fall apart. It began about 3 months ago. I'd check my phone and find a new voicemail waiting for me, always left in the dead of night. The first one was just static, a faint hiss like an open line. I deleted it without a second thought. The second one came a few nights later. This time, I could hear something underneath the static, a soft, rhythmic sound. It was my own breathing. A slow, steady inhale and exhale, as if I were sound asleep. But here's the thing. My phone was on my nightstand, charging. I was asleep. I brushed it off as a weird glitch, a fluke, but then the voicemails kept coming. I could hear the faint hum of the air conditioner in my bedroom. There was no record of any outgoing calls to my own number. But I did it. For a week, there was silence. No late-night notifications, no creepy audio diaries of my sleep. The relief was incredible. I actually started to sleep soundly again. I thought maybe it was just a bizarre software bug that had finally resolved itself. I was wrong. The silence was just a pause. A week later, it started again. The voicemails were back, somehow bypassing the block I'd set up. But they had changed. They weren't just ambient recordings anymore. The first new one I listened to made my blood run cold. It was my voice. I was talking in my sleep, mumbling something I couldn't quite make out. It was just a string of slurred, nonsensical words. But hearing my own disembodied voice, recorded from my own phone while I was completely vulnerable, was deeply disturbing. The next night, another one. Again my voice, but clearer this time. I was saying a single word over and over. Outside. Just that. Outside, outside, outside. My voice was flat, almost robotic. It didn't sound like me at all. What was I dreaming about? Why would I be saying that? I live on the 15th floor of an apartment building. What was outside that my sleeping mind was so fixated on? I started to dread going to sleep. I'd stay up as late as I could, watching movies, reading, anything to keep my mind occupied and my eyes open. But eventually, exhaustion would win, and I'd wake up to that familiar, dreaded notification. The messages grew more and more detailed. One night, it was the sound of me getting out of bed. I heard the creak of the floorboards, the soft thud of my feet hitting the floor. The recording went on for about 2 minutes, filled with the sounds of me just standing there, in the dark, breathing. Then, the sound of my feet shuffling back to bed, the rustle of the covers, and then, silence. I checked my sleep tracker app that morning. It showed a period of restlessness right around the time the voicemail was left, so it wasn't a dream. I had actually gotten up, but I have no memory of it. It's like a part of my night is being stolen from me, and the only evidence I have is these terrifying audio files. I started to feel like I was a stranger in my own body, a prisoner in my own apartment. My home, my sanctuary, now felt like a cage, and the call was coming from inside the house, quite literally. The fear was constant, a low hum of anxiety that never went away. Every creak of the building, every whisper of the wind outside my window sent a jolt of panic through me. Was that me? Was I sleepwalking again? Was my phone recording it? A few weeks ago, I got the most chilling voicemail yet. It started like the others, with the sound of my room, the hum of the fridge from the kitchen, the distant city traffic. Then I heard a new sound, a faint scratching. It was soft at first, but it grew more insistent. Scratch, scratch, scratch. It was coming from the direction of my bedroom door. In the recording, I could hear my own breathing quicken. Even in my sleep, I was hearing it. I was afraid. The scratching stopped, and then I heard the doorknob. A slow metallic turn, the click of the latch releasing. And then silence. Just pure dead air for the rest of the 3-minute message. I listened to it probably a dozen times, my heart pounding in my chest. The doorknob to my bedroom had been turned. The door had been opened. I live alone. I always lock my front door. I checked the door that morning, of course. It was closed, just as I'd left it. But the image of it swinging open in the middle of the night, while I was asleep and helpless, was burned into my mind. I couldn't shake the feeling of being watched, of not being alone. The anxiety became unbearable. I wasn't just being recorded. Something was interacting with my environment. Something was in my apartment with me. Last week, I decided I couldn't live like this anymore. I had to find an explanation. The logical part of my brain, the part that was desperately clinging to sanity, told me there had to be a rational answer. A hacker, maybe? Someone who had cloned my phone number and was somehow activating my microphone remotely? It seemed far-fetched, but it was better than the alternative. I remembered that voicemail files sometimes contain metadata, information about the file itself, location data. With trembling hands, I downloaded a metadata viewing app and opened the most recent voicemail, the one with the scratching and the doorknob. I scrolled through lines of code and file information, my eyes scanning for anything, any clue. And then I found it, the GPS coordinates. A wave of nausea washed over me. I pasted the coordinates into a map application. I knew, even before the map loaded, what I was going to see. The pin dropped. A blinking red dot, pulsating on the screen. It wasn't a remote location. It wasn't a hacker's basement across town. The pin was right on top of my building. I zoomed in. It was my apartment. I zoomed in further. The coordinates were so precise, they didn't just point to my apartment. They pointed to the exact spot where I sleep every night, to my side of the bed. But that wasn't the scariest part. I opened the metadata for the very first voicemail, the one with just static from 3 months ago. I checked its location data. The pin dropped again. My building, my apartment. But this time, I zoomed all the way in, and my heart stopped. The coordinates weren't from my side of the bed. They were for the other side, the empty side, where someone could be lying right next to me. I haven't slept in my bed since. I've been sleeping on the couch in the living room, with all the lights on, clutching my phone in my hand. But the voicemails haven't stopped. In fact, they've gotten worse. Last night, I got a new one. It was short, only 30 seconds long. It wasn't my breathing. It wasn't me sleep-talking. It wasn't even the sound of my apartment. It was a voice. A clear, crisp voice whispering, as if speaking directly into the microphone. It said just one thing. I see you're awake. I'm looking at my phone right now. The screen is dark. But I know it's listening. I don't know who is leaving these messages, or how. I don't know if they're in the room with me right now, or if they're just inside my phone. But the line between the two has become terrifyingly blurred. The calls are coming from the same room. I'm starting to think the person leaving them is too. Thank you for listening. Stay safe, and maybe keep your phone a little further away from you tonight. I'll see you in the next video.